Hi, and welcome to Live Signing with Laura Prepon at livesigning.com/Laura. We're going to ask her a bunch of questions about Stash Plan, what it's done for her, what it's done for others in her life, writing the book, all of those things. We're going to answer questions from you guys, the audience, and so we're going to start.
Well, we have to introduce you. This is my bestie, Jody.
Hello.
And, and we're hanging out, and she's going to be running the show for you guys so I can answer your questions and sign your books for you. So I'm going to do the first one right now. Who's the first one?
Perfect. Well, you're just signing them as we go. She's just going to sign the books while she talks to you. While we read the questions and she answers them, we're going to take 3 phone calls from some lucky winners throughout this hour. And for the first thing we want to do is have you tell them a little bit about the book, the story behind writing it, what you went through to get it published, how the process of finding out what you wanted to write to create this book, etc.
All right. Well, basically, this book means so much to me. It's years in the making, and it was inspired because my mom's a chef, my dad's was a doctor, and I've always wanted to do a book about health and nutrition, but when I was a kid, I lived in Europe, and when I moved back, I started having, and eating the food here, I started having all these kind of like adverse effects to it. I became totally allergic to wheat and gluten, allergic to dairy. Anything I ate, my body would just freak out. I started struggling with weight, and which we can all relate to.
Yeah, exactly.
And a bunch of different things. My energy was like super low, and it was terrible. I was 22, and I felt like I was, an old. I felt like I was like in my 90s or something. Like it was awful. And my mother taught me how to meal prep and cook ahead at a really young age. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and I'm the only one that's a chef, which is funny, but we grew up in the kitchen.
They all kind of cook a little bit, though.
Yeah, now they're totally cooking more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd always meal prepped, and I work really long hours, which I wouldn't change it for the world. I love what I do so much. I basically wanted to do a book about teaching people how to meal prep. And there's a lot to this book, which we can get into as we answer your questions. But the crux of the book is twice a week in 2 short cooking sessions. You cook a stash, you keep it in your fridge, and then every morning you build your meals from your stash. And it's supposed to make your life stress-free and more affordable. And it's awesome. It's how I live my life, and I wanted to share it with you guys. But we'll get into like the more kind of nitty-gritty as we go through your questions.
Awesome. So let's start with the first question. You and I can just chit-chat with each other.
And I'll just
the
keep signing
introduction
this.
was wonderful. And you just keep signing the books and stuff, and we'll talk. So the first question we have is from Akira in Orsett, Essex.
Okay.
Almost made a boo-boo there. When did you have the realization that the world needed to know about the Stash Plan?
Ooh.
When did that start?
That started when I finally started healing. Am I talking to you or am I talking to whatever?
Talk to me.
Okay.
We're just hanging out. They're just chilling, watching us hang out.
I think that started when I actually, because I mean, look, it's Jody's my best friend. She's gone through all this with me for years and years and years, and she knows all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through. And for me, it was when I actually, I went on like this 13-year journey trying to figure out what was wrong with me and why my body was like revolting against me. And Jodes, you can back me up. It's like when I finally started healing and my body started changing and I really started learning the solutions. Like I would meet with all these doctors, which there's totally a place for Western medicine. Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in a family of Western medicine.
Everybody needs an antibiotic.
I was going to be a doctor. Seriously, I used to get chronic sinus infections. I need an antibiotic.
Everybody needs one. Yeah, exactly.
But when it came to things like I was dealing with the autoimmune disorders and the celiac disease and everything like that, Western medicine was failing me. So when I first started working with Elizabeth, for 13 years, I went on my own journey trying to figure out what was wrong with me, reading all these books, doing all these programs. And when I really started figuring out the solutions and my body started changing and healing, I knew so many other people, including you and all of our other friends, that were dealing with the same issues I was.
Yeah, remember when we first actually started hanging out and became really good friends, which was like almost 10 years ago, we were both doing that 500 a day calorie diet together.
Yes.
And that was one of our like bonding moments was we were like, I'm dying, but I'm losing weight.
No, totally.
So
and then you go off a diet and then you like gain it all back
exactly,
and then some.
And you're like, wait, how come I'm a little looser than I used to be before?
Right.
And there's so much more fat on the body. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not cool. But
No.
but I, so like 3 years ago when I really realized that I figured out what was up, and I was healing, that's when I knew I needed to write this book. And that's exactly when I asked Elizabeth to write the book with me.
That's awesome. Love it. All right, so we're gonna do another question from. Okay, I really like this one actually. This is from Camille.
Okay.
She's from Sao Paulo.
Ooh, I love Sao Paulo.
Maybe I said that wrong.
I've been to Sao Paulo.
Oh, Sao Paulo. Anyway, so she says, due to a lot of reasons, I've grown up with a pretty unhealthy eating habit. Now I'm willing to change that, and I want to know if you can give me some tips to help me start that journey. And then she says, thanks, love ya.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Honestly, the tips that I do that make it easier for me to be able to, work the hours I work and still follow my nutrition plan is the meal prep. It's the cooking ahead, the having your stash in the fridge. I mean, this literally is what I do, which is why this book is so important to me. And the way that it's explained in here is it gives you the correct why. It gives you the solution why to eat like this. And it's awesome. So for me, it's preparation, because if you're prepared and you have everything done, like, I mean, girl, it's like when you really started meal prepping, then you were able to control your meals and like know exactly what you were eating, and you could go throughout your day when we have like a crazy day and the meals are taken care of, and it's awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, I was meal prepping for a very long time, but I was doing it sort of on the bodybuilder way of it, which was tasteless. And it was
she would eat like boiled chicken, and I'm like, girl, I mean, you can still,
trying anything. But so my best friend saw what I was eating, and she was like, girl, I'm gonna show you how to actually eat good with some flavor. And Laura actually taught me how to cook some food. Well, actually, she taught me how to cook. I cooked a little bit, I knew something, but she taught me how to like really cook with flavor and with love, because there's something to like touching and loving your food. And
is something, that's a really good point, actually. Like, there is something about cooking your own food, connecting with your food, and really caring about your food. Not to be all like woo-woo, but it's true. I mean, what you eat becomes you, So for me, my mother always taught me this too, is like, you have to respect the food. You have to treat it well. You know what I mean? And it's not like some whatever thing. It's just like, you want to find, like today, we just got, back to the West Coast. And I got in my car and I drove, to go get the food where I know the source of it. I know that, I know where it comes from, to a very specific market that I love.
She went to the farmer's market. She goes to the farmer's market a couple times a week whenever she has to.
Yeah, but the only one that was open was like completely far away from my house.
It was far, but she actually got me interested and enjoying going to the farmer's market. I used to go, but it was like a treat for me because I don't have a ton of money, and I always thought farmers markets were really expensive.
Right, but it's the opposite.
Along with like organic foods and stuff like that. And then I started going and realizing that I actually saved money and got to buy like fresh vegetables that actually tasted way better.
Right, but that's the other thing too that's really interesting is like the stash plan makes your life stress-free, right? But yes, the food has to be organic, not genetically modified, because the whole underbelly of the book teaches you about the liver and the gallbladder, which scares people when they first hear those words, but when you really learn...
organs are scary.
Right, no, I totally get it. Most people, they're scared by it, but, when you actually learn what eating genetically modified foods do to your body and make you gain weight and be inflamed and all these things, you realize how important it is. But sometimes, and we've gone through this too, people have the false idea where they're like, oh, I can't do it. It's too expensive. But it's actually not true. I mean, Jody's a single mom. And she realized that when she started making her stashes, going to farmers markets and making her broths with the organic bones, that she actually saved money. And we've had a lot of conversations about this.
Yeah, I spent more money going out, even to fast food places.
Right.
And I actually wasted more time going and sitting in a restaurant because I always thought also that I didn't have enough time to cook.
Right.
And then I learned how to stash, and I actually find that I have extra time now to like sit and chill with my daughter.
Right.
And I actually have extra money because I live paycheck to paycheck. I didn't think I could afford these organic 100% grass-fed bones.
Right.
But when you make one batch of this broth, which is amazing, it lasts me like almost a week, which is incredible.
Right.
And I spend less money. I had more money in my bank account to do other things that I wanted to do with.
Yeah.
You know?
And also it's like you either, you know, buy the stuff now or what is that saying? It's like either spend the money now or you'll pay for a doctor later or whatever it is. Or you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It may cost a little bit more, but by eating it this way, you're going to save money in the long run by not having to deal with cancer and all these other weird body ailments, celiac disease, which is huge right now because of the GMOs in the foods, right?
Well, yeah, that's the problem because you look at like 5 years ago, right? People were like, oh yeah, I've heard of a gluten intolerance, but like 10 years ago, nobody knew what celiac disease was. Nobody knew what Hashimoto's was.
It didn't really exist,
Nobody knew. No, here's the problem. Like, nobody knows how long it's actually existed for. It is kind of a new thing, but it has to do with, you know, for me, like when I came back from Europe, a lot of countries in Europe, actually, there's a ban on GMOs.
Yeah.
So America doesn't have that.
Australia's like, nope, you can't put that stuff in our food.
Right, totally.
Because they care about their people.
Right, so, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox about like, why is America putting GMOs in our food? I mean, you guys can make your own, you know, you can deduce what you want from that. But the point is like when you look at all the packaged foods and all the processed foods and all the things that are genetically modified now, and then you look at the rate of the autoimmune disorders and the different food allergies that are coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, common sense wise, it's just like, oh, okay, that totally makes sense. And the problem is like, what, you know, and you guys will learn this in the book, but for those of you who haven't read it yet, it's like when you eat stuff, so let's say like genetically modified food, right? It's like, when it first started happening, everyone thought it was a cool thing. Sure. They're like, oh, this is great. Like the tomato will stay more ripe on my shelf, or, you know, in a supermarket, they're like, oh, we'll have it for longer and we'll save money. And farmers were like, their crops were not getting eaten by bugs and being choked by weeds and different things like that.
And they're slightly prettier because the color pops a little bit more.
Right, and everyone, that is, when you look at amazing food at a farmer's market, it's the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. But they're bigger. Well,
when I say color pops, I'm talking like they look plastic.
Right, yeah.
At a farmer's market, they're awkward shaped and they're like what nature makes them grow that way.
Totally.
Yeah.
But the whole point is like when you eat these foods right away, your liver's like, whoa, what is this? You know, because it's your chemical processing plant in your body. It's like, hang on, I got to figure this out. What is this? And when it can't figure out what to do, your liver and your gallbladder work like hand in hand. So the liver's like, gallbladder, give me more bile to break this down. I don't know what this thing is. And it's like this vicious cycle. And then your liver like passes the buck and it's like to, you know, the small intestine. And then it's like, I don't know what's happening. And it's like a whole thing. I can act out like a whole play for you, but I want to get to your questions. But the point is when your body doesn't recognize what it is, we're like survival of the fittest, right? Every animal wants to survive as best as it can. So naturally, it's going to stuff it away in the fat to like protect the vital organs.
Absolutely.
So if you just think about it in like a way like that, where you're like, wow, oh my God, when I eat these foods, my body is like trying to protect itself by putting it in weird places. It makes sense. So as you do the stash plan, as everything starts functioning better, naturally an awesome byproduct, which we all want, is you shed weight because your body wants to be agile and be fast and be able to run from danger when it needs to and whatever, you know?
Well, and isn't it also, it realizes, we actually have a phone call that we're going to take in 1 second, but I just wanted to say
The problem is I could talk about this stuff forever, so it's not good when you just give me an hour.
Right, no, it's fine. But one of the things, just on that particular note, isn't there something about with you're saying like the body is storing all these chemicals that it doesn't know what to do with into the fats. So once it starts getting foods that it does know how to process, it actually decides to let go of those chemicals in the stored fats and the body actually starts to heal itself. Is that correct?
Because absolutely. Because the thing is like the better your liver and your gallbladder start functioning, okay? Your liver is, you know, you start assimilating nutrients more. Like when when I used to meal prep and my body was still totally inflamed and I wasn't absorbing any nutrients, I was like hungry all the time. I don't know if you guys relate to this, but like I literally was like, you know how you put a bag of dog food in front of a dog, it'll like eat until it's like dead?
It does,
like
it just won't stop.
It just won't stop. That's like how I was. Like I was always hungry, like always hungry. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I always hungry? Granted, yes, I was always on a weird crash diet, but I was just always hungry.
Prior to that.
Yeah. But yes, when your liver and your gallbladder start functioning better, you start actually assimilating nutrients. The broth, which is a huge part of this book, starts healing your gut. All these micronutrients, you cook these bones down for 16, 17, up to 20 hours.
Yeah.
All the cartilage and the collagen and all the marrow and everything goes into this awesome liquid gold. And that's what first started healing me, like from the inside out. And I started just like, these nutrients were like, my body was so happy. I can't even tell you. It was awesome. And that's why it's a huge part of the book.
And the broth is delicious too. So we're going to take this phone call. We have one of three.
One of three calls. Melissa?
This is Melissa from Massachusetts.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Laura.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You're watching us right now?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are we doing so far?
Good.
Good. We've never
I
done this
actually
before.
met you a few days ago.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I gave you the video.
And I wrote back to your tweet and everything too, right? Didn't you? Yeah. Okay, good. Just making sure that's you. Okay, good. Hi, what's happening?
Just watching the stream, super excited.
Cool, man. So what's your question?
I wanted to know what it was like seeing the stash plan for the first time when it was like a book and you had a copy of it.
Oh, man. It was, Melissa, it was awesome. It was here. We walked in here.
Yeah.
Because what happened was when I was in New York, I saw a galley of it, which is like a raw version of it. It's not like the hard copy or anything. It's just like a really, really early edition that we send out to different kind of press and stuff like that.
It's like the sample.
Yeah, and I saw that for the first time, and I was like freaking out. And then I came back home, and there was one of the final books in a package, and I opened it, and I think I started crying actually.
You did. You got emotional.
I
had like pure happiness. It was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, because honestly, like this book means so much to me because I know how many people I just know how many people are dealing with the same struggles that I had, and it means so much to me. And the fact that it's like out and it's here and it's like a tangible, real thing, and it means so much to me. And I can't even tell you, like I'm really proud. That's the answer to your question. I felt really, really proud and honored to be able to share this information with you guys.
Well, we're all proud of you. So.
Oh, thanks, Melissa. I appreciate that.
Welcome.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I'm awesome talking to you. Unfortunately, we have to go to the next question, but thanks for watching, girl, and thanks for being awesome.
Oh, you're welcome. Have fun with it.
Thank you. Okay, so now what do we do?
So
I ran out of I need more books.
The next question, while we get you some more books to sign, the next question, we're going to do a couple that are kind of like quick answers.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay.
One of them is, let's see, where did it go? Can frozen fruit be used in place of fresh fruit, or is there a nutritional reason why it must be fresh?
Honestly, for me, I like everything to be as fresh as possible because if you just think about, for me, like fresh fruit versus frozen fruit, I just feel like, whenever you freeze anything, I feel like maybe some of the nutrients are lost.
Yeah.
It is true that you can freeze your broths and that's okay. But it's a personal thing. Honestly, for me, I always use fresh whenever I can.
How about this though? What if you go and you buy fresh fruit and then you realize, okay, I'm actually not going to get to use this until it's already gone bad. Can you put it in the freezer? Like I understand the concept of going and buying pre-frozen fruit from a grocery store.
Sure.
Although you can get like organic strawberries and stuff like that from like Trader Joe's. They have organic frozen strawberries.
I know, but just like you said, it's like you don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, exactly. But what do you think about that? Like if you're trying to like maintain the length so it doesn't go bad, if you're putting it in the freezer just like you would the broth, does that work or?
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, it's a personal thing. For me, I like to keep it as fresh as possible all the time. So with the stashes, every 3 days, you're making it a whole new stash.
Cool.
But look, if you make a lot of smoothies or something, if you want to have a smoothie in the morning and you freeze your organic fruit, sure, that's fine. Just try to use it as fast as possible, because if you look at it, I mean, the longer it stays, it's not as nutritious. You want to get it as fresh as possible.
Perfect. Exactly. Okay, great. Do we have some more books? Oh, perfect. Yay, more books to sign.
Thank you.
And then the next one that I love is, can you start the plan on a Sunday instead of Monday? My fiance and I are starting it together.
Oh.
Which is so cute. But our work week starts Sunday and we usually meal prep on Saturdays. So how does that work if you just shifted a day or two or whatever?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the whole point of this is it can work however you want to make it work for your life. In here, also, the reason why it's 21 days, just to kind of touch on that for a second, is, it's proven scientifically and factually that you can break a habit in 21 days. So that's why you see like lose 21 pounds in 21 days and blah, 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 and stuff like that. But, so for us, it's like in 21 days, you can learn new habits. You can learn, how to stash. You can learn how to make your broths and all these things. And then it becomes part of your life. But honestly, you guys, like, as long as you're stashing and you're doing the broths and you're doing the stretching, which we'll touch on too, make it work however it works for you. You know what I mean? Because the whole point is to alleviate stress and pressure. And it's an 80-20 thing. It's like you have to still live your life and enjoy it and do whatever. And it's supposed to be a fun, free thing, So I think totally do it on a different day. For me, I just found that those days work really well, and it works out that then the free day is on a Sunday, which is like your, free day or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, which sure sounds like her free day will end up being Saturday. So work scheduling. So essentially the concept of this program is you're doing a stash that you have for 3 days. You do the stash the end of that third day for another 3 days, and then you have a day off. So you can kind of start it whatever day you want.
You can do whatever you guys want as long as you're doing it, and using organic food and grass-fed bones, things like that.
Perfect.
So yeah, totally.
Perfect. Okay, so we have another phone call? Okay. We have another one from Joanna Borg. Sorry, I don't do this professionally, so I forgot to read some of the names for the other questions. So
it's all good.
Try and do that again.
Whatever. With this, we're new to this.
This Joanna Borg from San Juan. I'm a vegetarian, and I've recently seen from one of your interviews that the stash plan isn't vegetarian. So is there a way I could alter my stash to be vegetarian?
Yeah, Joanna, what's funny is like I've done every kind of different kind, like eating or diets or this and that. Like, I was obsessed with the whole alkaline pH thing for a while, and I was like, you remember that? Dude, I was literally, they call it swamp water. I was drinking my like alkaline swamp water.
So gross.
And I was getting my blood tested to like the alkaline in it. I was like peeing on alkaline strips every morning. Like I was fully in it. Like, but the thing is, like I would read all these books and not this one, but I would read all these, because this one's awesome. I would read all these other books, and then I would like do the program fully. I even went to the dude who wrote the book. I tracked him down, and I was like, I want to meet you in person. And I went to his ranch where he had people come who were like full on doing the thing. Like I do my research.
She dedicates, when she finds something that she wants to do, she dedicates it to a full completion.
Yes, I do.
It's awesome.
But one of the things I did was I did become a vegan for a long time. Also vegetarian, but I did the vegan thing more specifically. And all of it, I still did all my meal prep. I basically did the stash plan, but I wasn't doing the proteins, honestly. I got really big into tofu for a while. And always organic. Tofu has to be organic. Soy is one of the most genetically modified foods out there. You cannot mess with that. But yeah, you totally can. The problem with the vegetarian thing, like I so get it. The one thing is the broths. Like you can totally do vegetable broth. If you really don't like the meat flavor, you should try doing maybe a fish broth, because those are awesome and they have all the little bones and all those little, it only cooks for like 6 hours. It cooks less because the bones are so small. But fish broth is awesome.
That might be a nice soft introduction. I've had some friends who are vegetarian who decided to incorporate protein. And they were actually, it was recommended by their doctors to start with like a whitefish or a salmon because
well, that's
better
how I normally, like when I segued from being like a vegan into regular food again. Actually, no, what happened was, and I got really sick. I was a vegan for a long time, and then I had a bunch of people over for a UFC fight.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a friend brought this massive brisket.
Yes, and it was incredible.
And he put this brisket on my counter, and at first I was like disgusted by it. I'm like, what is that slab of meat? That's disgusting. And then literally I like started salivating. I'm like, and everyone was eating it. I'm like, I have to try this. Like, cause he has his own barbecue restaurant, and his contribution to the UFC night was he brought a humongous brisket. And then I ended up eating it, and I ended up eating a lot of it, and then I had heartburn for like 3 days, and I got so sick. But the natural transition.
But after that, you went to
the fish thing was good for me. That was a good transition back. But the answer to your question is yes. But I would just suggest somehow getting a broth in there.
Wonderful, perfect timing.
Yeah.
We're gonna take another phone call.
Oh, cool.
Yay, these are cool.
This is Danielle from New York.
So we've got Danielle from New York.
Hey Danielle, how's it going?
Hi.
Hey, I'm doing well.
How was your day?
It's doing well. We're, I've never done a live signing before. Jody's never done this either, so we're kind of winging it. But I think
Feeling it out,
as
figuring
long
it
as
out.
we're doing okay.
Yes, I actually met you at both of the signings in New York.
Oh my God, did we do the Charlie's Angels thing together?
Yes, we
Hey, how's it going?
I had a feeling when he said Danielle from New York, I'm like, I think that's her.
That's awesome. Hi.
Okay, so my question is, what makes the stash plan different from any other cookbook that's out there?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, first of all, the stash plan isn't a diet and it's very different from other cookbooks in the sense that it's a lifestyle plan. So there's 3 very distinct parts of it. The first one is the meal prepping at home, the stash, where you make your stash in the 2 short cooking sessions a week, and then you build your meals from it. The second is the bone broth, which really nourishes you from the inside out, and it gets your body healing and assimilating nutrients. And the third is we have this targeted stretching based on Elizabeth's method, where it's these stretches that open up specific areas that help your liver and your gallbladder to function better. And the one thing that's really interesting is with a lot of people dealing with inflammation, and whenever they eat, their body like freaks out and they have low energy and this and that, is like, when I first realized that my underlying solution was the fact that my liver and my gallbladder wasn't functioning properly and I wasn't burning fat and assimilating nutrients, that was something that had been missing in my life for years, where I never knew that was the reason why. So for this book, I feel that we really, we give the underlying solutions and we give a handling for the problem. And that for me is why this is so different. There's really, and I'm not just saying this because I'm biased and it's like, my book, but it really is, there's nothing out there like this. And when we went out and we were pitching all these publishing houses, like, not to be like pat on the back, but everybody wanted the book because it's new, it's different, it actually gives solutions, it teaches you about your body in like a fun, cool way. Because the whole thing is, when we were like pitching the book, everyone was like, how do we get you into the book? Like, how is it like you're hanging out and you're just chatting with your friends, teaching you about the body and food and this and that? And I really feel like we did that.
You definitely did, yeah.
Awesome.
I read some of it, and I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense.
Oh,
I never
good.
knew, like, all that information.
Awesome, Danielle. Thank you. So so that's why it's different, because I don't feel there's another book out there that really gives solutions like we do.
You guys
Perfect.
know, totally. It's great. I'm really, really proud of you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks,
sweet.
girl. By the way, at the book signing in Jersey, someone totally was cramping your style, and they were like, "Can we do the Charlie's Angel pose too?"
What?
Yeah, girl. So you might have started a whole trend now because people are jumping on your bandwagon.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was really
Now,
funny.
we did better.
Oh, well, girl, we're the OGs. You know what I mean? So we're the OGs and we did it. So not even a question.
And the bracelet too. I hope you still have it.
Of course I do. It's in my room.
Good.
Awesome. It's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. I love you.
Thank you so much, girl, and have an awesome day. And thank you for all your support and
No
the book
problem,
and everything.
you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Danielle.
Oh, thanks.
Perfect. More books. And then we have another question. I really like this question. This one is from Susie in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mary, can you open that for me? Thank you.
How important is this? Let me try that again.
Sure.
How important is it to store your stashes in glassware versus plastic containers?
Thank you. Oh, it's totally important. I mean, you get all this incredible food and you make all this amazing food, and then when you put it in plastic, and unfortunately a lot of people throw things in the microwave, which I haven't used a microwave in years and years, and I know that's a habit that's going to be hard for people to break, but you really should try to, because you're getting all this amazing food, you're prepping all this amazing food, and then you put it in plastic and you heat it up in the plastic, and all these chemicals go into the food that you just spent all this, awesome energy making. So use glass whenever you can, because it doesn't put chemicals into your food, and if it happens to get a little colder or warmer or whatever, it won't affect the nutrients in the food. The other thing too is, because this is how I live my life and how I bring my food to set with me every day, a lot of the recipes are specifically made to be room temperature. So
We actually tested each recipe straight off the stove and then also out of, and I say we because I was helping her when she was hanging out and just testing the recipes before her and Elizabeth decided what was going in. I'd just come over and hang out and we'd cook and stuff, but she'd put them in the fridge and then we'd wait to the next day. We wanted to make sure that they were still good the next day, the second day, the third day, cold or hot. So you don't necessarily have to heat it up. Some people I eat my stashes cold. I have to know, because my life with my daughter and my work and my art and stuff, I never have an opportunity necessarily to put it on a stove. I will not put it in a microwave, but that's just me. I haven't owned a microwave in 20 years. But so I eat everything cold, and I actually love the way the recipes taste cold, personally.
But totally. But also, a lot of workplaces now are getting hep to the, people are getting hep. They know that, that microwaves are bad. They're having, even throwing, it in a little toaster oven. That's totally awesome.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
But it depends. Again, you guys, it's a personal thing. If you like your meals hot, cool. In the morning, every morning before I go to work, I have a thermos. I heat up my broth on the stove. I get it totally hot, and then I put it in my thermos, and it's literally warm all day while I'm on set. It's hot all day. So for me, I like having my meals room temperature, and then I have my hot broth. So it's a personal thing. You guys make it work however it works for you. I mean, it's a lifestyle plan. You have to figure out how to take these and make it so it helps your life and makes your life better. You know what I mean?
Totally. Perfect. Totally. We have another one from Anya in Goole, East Yorkshire.
Anya?
Anya?
Cool.
And I'm probably butchering that town. I apologize. Was getting into the routine of preparing and cooking the stash plan meals hard to get into? Or is it easy and quick to do while you've got a busy schedule?
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, the whole point of this is to alleviate stress in your life and to make your schedule easier. There's days where I'll wake up at, 4 in the morning to go to work long before the sun comes up. And the whole point is that, I roll into my kitchen, throw my meals together, heat up my broth, and then, I'm out the door. But my mother taught me how to do this when I was 15, 13. I mean, she taught me to cook when I was so young. And then, when I started acting and doing all these other things, it was already just so ingrained in me that, I make my stash and in under an hour, it's done. So yeah, for me, this is just I don't even think about it. It's second nature, And the more you do it, it'll become second nature for you too. And you'll realize, I've just been living in a hotel for 3 weeks, and my first hotel for 2 weeks, I had a kitchen. I specifically said I need a small little kitchenette where I can make my stashes, and I did. The last week, going all over the place on the book tour, which was awesome.
Wonderful.
I really missed not having my stashes. And how many times was I like, girl, I need my stash.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
At least twice a day.
Yeah.
For the whole week. And it was a crazy week. And
Yeah.
I just to jump on that, just because I didn't learn to cook at a young age. I didn't have my mom, like, you know, my mom and my dad were both full-time, you know, had like 18-hour-a-day jobs and stuff, and they were raising, you know, 3 children and whatever.
Right.
And I didn't learn to cook until probably 5 or 6 years ago. I thought cooking had to be like an hour every meal. That was my mindset with cooking. And then when I learned to cook stash, I cook, for me, with no cooking skills, I cook a full 3.5 to 4 days worth of food in literally an hour.
Literally.
From beginning to end. That's with prepping the vegetables, chopping,
Right.
putting them in the oven, doing everything. It takes me 1 hour.
Right.
And what in terms to answer this question from somebody outside of the girl who wrote the book, just so you know, the normal
Totally.
person, it actually didn't even take me that long to get that time down. I think the first time I tried to cook a stash plan, it took me an hour and 45 minutes. And it was amazing. And then I just figured out how I like to run in my kitchen.
Right.
And it boiled down to an hour. And I actually don't even worry about my meals the next day. I
Right.
don't waste any time. I pull everything out, throw it all in a glassware, and take it with me. And I do it for my daughter. My daughter does that for her. She takes the food to school with her.
Right.
And she loves it. And at one point, she was selling our meals to her schoolmates because they didn't like the food that they were being sent to school with. So it's
funny.
it's kind of awesome.
I didn't know that.
I forgot to tell
Aiden.
you about that. It was kind
That's
of awesome.
funny.
Yeah. So cool. So there's that. And then
Yeah.
this is another one that I think is a really incredible question from Jenna in Double Bay, South Wales.
Ooh. Sounds like a nice place.
I love snacks that aren't just yummy, but super healthy food. What are your favorite healthy snacks?
Oh, girl, they're
This is
all
her-
right in here. They're
Yeah.
so awesome. I love the almond bread recipe that's in here. I toast it, I put butter on it and avocado with some salt and pepper. That's one of my favorite snacks. And yes, I eat butter, and yes, I eat oil, and yes, I eat things that are high in fat because if it's real, I'll eat it. That's what I say. If my body can be like, oh, I know what this is, it's organic butter. It's, amazing organic, cold pressed olive oil, whatever it is, I eat it. So I put butter on there with some avocado. It's awesome. Organic almonds and green apples. Green apples are good because the pectin in the green skin helps your gallbladder do its job and break down gallstones.
What
just
is
so you know.
pectin? What does that mean?
It's what makes the skin green.
Oh, okay. So the coloring
on the outside of the
essentially.
apple.
Okay.
But
Really-
one thing, sorry, girl.
Go.
No, continue.
Oh, I was gonna say one thing on the almond bread with the almond butter and like the butter
Right.
one. So
Oh, yeah.
I have a major horrific like crack addiction to sugar and
Yeah.
sweet. It's really bad.
I'm a salty person. She's a sweet person.
Super sweet. And we have a friend of ours, Jill, who also has the same problem. Like,
Yeah.
wants to eat junk food full time. I want to eat junk food full time.
Right.
This is super healthy, and it actually satiates that craving for me.
Yeah.
So then I'll eat that right after I've had a meal, like because I crave sugar the most when I'm eating my meal.
Right.
And afterwards, so I'll have that right after my meal, and then I go on with the rest of my day, and I don't
Yeah.
worry about it, and I'm not binging on M&Ms or
But also
pulling
the
in a Jack
almond
in the
bread
Box.
with the almond bread with the almond butter and then drizzle it with raw organic honey.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
It's so good. It's awesome. So yeah, those are all snacks that are in the book. and
Absolutely incredible.
They're really good.
Great snacks. Okay, so we have another really great question from, I love this one.
Did I sign all those?
Yeah, these are all signed over here.
Oh, right.
Are you, do we need some more?
Maybe I'm
Let's
kind of
get some
rolling
more.
through.
Let's do it.
Thanks.
Oh,
Mary.
I just lost it. Where'd it go? There it is.
Thank
From
you.
Ashley in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Cool.
She says, Laura, you have the most beautiful skin.
Thank you. I'm kind of sleep deprived right now, so I appreciate that.
May I ask what products, if any, that you use?
That's a good question. Well, first and foremost, the bone broth replenishes collagen in your skin. So
Amazing.
when you make this bone broth and you cook it down for hours, like I explained earlier, and the collagen and cartilage and marrow and everything goes into this liquid gold, that collagen is replenished in your skin. It's like a like feeds like type of thing. So, for men and women, men love it, not so much for the vanity of it, but because of their joints and Collagen is all over your body. A lot of athletes also drink it to replenish their muscles and everything. Kobe Bryant, actually, there's a whole article written about how his nutritionist put him on it and everything. But so the bone broth in the book, totally awesome for the collagen in your skin. And then the products that I try to use all natural whenever I can. Because think about it, your skin is the largest organ in your body.
Absolutely.
So what you put on it is just as important as what you put into your face, But Arbonne has some really cool products and that are all natural, and it's from Switzerland.
Yeah.
And they have really amazing, very stringent laws over there on what you can put into what you can do to call something all natural. Like their laws are very strict, which is cool. There's not a lot of loopholes. They can put a bunch of crap in there and be like, it's natural. No, it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a company called DNA Skin Institute that is awesome. And I know, Noel Aguilar, it's his company. I personally know him. I know that his integrity with his products are phenomenal. So DNA Skin Institute is also a really good one. You can go on their website and order their stuff. So yeah, and that's basically what I do. I do the broth and I use those products.
Perfect. It's great. Arbonne is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, you love Arbonne.
It saved my skin. I had acne scarring and all sorts of other stuff going on.
Yeah,
but
no,
this
it's a
is
good
not,
one.
Yeah.
I'm
like, we're doing an Arbonne infomercial now.
Exactly.
So here's another really fun one because you absolutely love to entertain.
I do. My friends call me Martha Stewart.
It's crazy. Yeah, Martha Stewart.
And I met her.
Yes.
I got
my gosh,
to
that
meet
was so
her,
fun.
and I was flipping out. I met her. I did Late Night with Seth Meyers, and I met her, and I was like, oh my God.
Prior to that, at the premiere, at the movie premiere, at the film premiere, she came up to you.
Yeah. Yes, she did.
She came up to you.
Yeah, and she said something really awesome
like,
to me that I'm not going to say right now.
It was
but
great.
It was awesome, and she's got an awesome sense of humor. Anyway, continue.
So our, Martha Stewart, Laura Prepon, the new Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
I said that she didn't. If you held a dinner party, what would you cook?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I know. I like that question.
Oh man. What would I cook? Okay, well, what I've been doing recently, and again, I'm not just saying this because it's in the book, you guys, it's like sincere, seriously. Recently, there's a ginger shrimp recipe. Dude, it's so good. So what I'll do is I'll make a bunch of the ginger shrimp recipe, and then I'll put a bunch of toothpicks in a bunch of them, and those go like hotcakes. Everyone loves them. And even when they get, after, they're hot and they get a little room temperature, they're still delicious. They still taste really good. So the ginger shrimp recipe is amazing. So that's a good starter. I'll also get some organic nuts, and I love doing this kind of toasted rosemary. I'll toss organic nuts in a bunch of melted butter with rosemary and thyme with salt and pepper, and I'll bake them. Those are good. I know.
So good. I'm like getting. Getting a little hungry. You're talking about this. Ugh, yummy.
I know, it's good. Then what I'll usually do is I'll definitely make some kind of salad, and let's see, definitely make some kind of salad. I'll make some cool veggie sides, and it depends on, honestly, it depends on who I'm cooking for. If I'm cooking for my family, I know the guys love when I make my tenderloin. And there's a really cool trick, which is if you take your tenderloin, right? Like I'll buy a big one because I have a big family. And I unwrap it and you just put it on a pan in the fridge uncovered, and it kind of gets like this kind of, it's like a fast aging process, like a meat locker thing kind of. And you let it sit in there with the air hitting it. Then
wait, so the fridge is open or
no?
It's closed.
You unwrap it, like you get it from your butcher.
Okay.
You unwrap it, you put it on a pan so the air is hitting it.
Got it.
In the fridge.
Okay.
In the fridge.
That makes
and
sense.
Close
That
the
makes
door.
sense.
So then a few hours later, you turn it over and you kind of like give it a mini age. And then the next day, like a meat locker.
Nice.
And then the next day, when you put butter and awesome stuff all over it and you cook it, it's so good. I don't know why, but it just it does this awesome mini aging thing. A chef friend of mine taught me that trick.
It sounds delicious.
Another trick that my mom taught me, which is awesome. I love talking about little tricks for cooking.
It's great.
You guys should try this because it's awesome. So if I'm making like a broccoli salad, like there's a broccoli salad in this book. I don't know, this might actually be in the book. I can't remember. There's a broccoli salad in the book. I think it's stash number 5. And when you're making the broccoli, you put a pinch of baking soda in the water, and the broccoli looks like you injected food coloring into it.
Oh, wow.
And you put a pinch of baking soda in the water that's steaming the broccoli or parboiling the broccoli, and it becomes this crazy vibrant color. And it happens for carrots, if you're cooking carrots or whatever, or any other kind of things that I steam. I always put a little bit of baking soda in the water, and it's an awesome trick. And it makes everything like super vibrant. I think it's the stash with the ginger shrimp and the kabocha squash and the purple rice, which I think is stash number 5. But anyway, that's an awesome trick. So that, I don't know. So yeah, I think I answered your question.
So the question was, what would you cook if you were hosting a dinner party? So you cook all those things. That's awesome.
Totally.
If I were
and then
coming
a fun
to
grain, I'd make an awesome grain with broth infused brown rice because it tastes so good. And I'd probably mix like some kind of pine nuts and cool herbs and stuff into that because that's a good base.
That's awesome. If I were coming, I would want you to make the brown rice pasta with the cilantro pesto.
You love that.
I'm obsessed.
She loves the pesto. Pesto's good.
No, but I have a mac and cheese thing. Like I'm the girl who.
That's true.
If there's pasta in front of my face, like for probably 10 years of my life, if I went to any Italian restaurant or real Italian restaurant, and I do that because there's not like, real Italian restaurants, but I would get the fettuccine Alfredo. I like cheese. I like the pasta. I like all of that. And then I stopped being able to eat it, which really bums me out. It makes me really sad. I really like it.
Well, you became intolerant to gluten also.
Yeah, I'm not as bad as you, which, it's terrible, thankfully, because I can have like soy sauce and stuff, which you can't. But I cannot have pasta, and it really makes me sad. So she came up with this recipe for this brown rice pasta and this cilantro pesto, which is like the most unbelievable pesto sauce I've ever had in my life, and there's not one bad thing in it. It's like you could eat it every day, and it's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And on that note, I think we have another phone call that we're gonna get while I see if this recipe is in here.
Yeah, it's in here.
I've got it. I got it. You take care of it.
It's before this one.
Oh, okay. You take care of the phone call. I'm gonna look.
Mary Alice from Florida.
Hi, Mary Alice from Florida.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm going to hold the phone closer to my microphone so everyone can hear you.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to hold the speaker closer to my microphone so everyone can hear you too.
Okay.
Okay, so what's happening, Mary Alice?
Well, Laura, at first I want to congratulate you on the milestone of becoming a published best-selling author. Congrats.
Thank you. Oh, man,
that's so awesome.
dope. Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Sure it does. You're welcome. My question is concerning traveling. You kind of touched on it earlier, but I travel a lot, and I love the stash plans. Matter of fact, we have fish broth going right now.
Oh, my God. That is so cool.
Yeah. But
You're
anyway,
going to love the fish broth. The
and-
fish broth is really good, and the minerals in there are so awesome, and your body just sucks them right up. You're going to feel amazing when you drink it. It's awesome.
Oh, I can't wait. I've had some of the same issues that you had, and that's why I was so excited when I heard what your book was going to be about. I was like, yes.
That makes me so
talking
happy.
about this.
See, this is what I love when I talk to you guys, and and when you say like I've had to deal with the same things, and your recipes are already helping, and things in the book are explaining things that I didn't. It's just like this is why this is so important to me. So thank you for saying that.
Oh yeah, sure. It was important to us to hear your story. So, anyway, when I'm on the road, like you said, you can only take so much with you, and then if you can't get a kitchen, and then you have the days like you mentioned, a week where you kind of have to eat on the go in the restaurant. Do you have any tips on how you choose at that particular time, or what you do to kind of keep yourself clean, and then maybe when you get home, or because for me I get kind of inflamed.
I totally understand.
Get into that other stage. I just wonder what you do. Sometimes you can't avoid it, but how do you kind of walk that part out?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question because I travel a lot. I mean, I was just on, the East Coast, like in my book tour. I'm living in a hotel, and I just got back, and the first thing I did was there was a broth cooking on my stove right now.
Yeah.
and I went to the farmer's market this morning. That's like, first and foremost, I get my stash going immediately. But it's a really good question because I try to find a hotel, first and foremost, that has a little kitchenette. I know a lot of times that's not possible, but I was able to find one for 2 weeks at least where I had a little bit of a kitchen where I could do it. The other thing too is, you do what you can. Like, for example, on travel days, planes are the worst. They're the worst, and the food on planes are the worst. So I don't touch a single morsel of food on the plane. In the morning, before I leave on the plane, I prep all of my food and I bring 2 Tupperwares in my bag. And I take the Tupperware and I put them in a large Ziploc. And I have 2 meals with me. So I bring 2 meals with me on the plane. And usually I've never been stopped. Obviously, I can't bring my broth on the plane because it's a liquid. But the 2 meals, never had a problem with. No one's ever been like, you can't, blah, 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 whatever. I'm just like, I bring them. And that gets me through at least my travel day and into my next, where I'm going to. So then what I do is, the different kind of habits in here are so ingrained in me. Like if I can't have a kitchenette, then I just try to do what I can. I try to order food that's very similar to this. Like, I'll get brown rice and I'll specifically try to seek out places that I know have organic produce and hormone-free meats. Like in New York, I'll ask the waiter and I'll be obnoxious and be like, listen, I'm like, is your, chicken hormone-free and organic? Is your cauliflower organic? Like where, like in New York, I know specific restaurants where I know the chef knows his butcher, he knows where he gets his produce from. I've been to the farms. Like I get like, I do my research. So the thing is like, you just kind of have to be that person who's like, listen, whatever, don't make it weird, but are your meats hormone-free and whatever. And whatever they do have, find out if the fish is wild caught, find out if the meats are grass-fed, and then kind of choose based on that. Obviously, there's going to be times where you can't really help it and you kind of just have to make the best decision you can. But just don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, ask them questions. Like, where is this from? Is it organic? Is it hormone-free? And just like, I have no issues on that. I'm just like asking the questions and whatever. And you just do the best you can.
And another thing on that, just really quickly, if you know where you're going on your traveling, before you leave home, you can actually research organic restaurants in that area so that you're not stuck at that moment when you're out of town, you don't have your food, and you're like, I'm just going to go to the closest restaurant.
Right.
You can plan your day in that new area around like making sure you get to those restaurants.
Well, that's what we did when when Jody was with me when I was doing the book tour on the East Coast. Like literally, we would figure out where there's a break in the schedule, which there weren't many, but if there was like one, we'd be like, cool, where are we going to be? Okay, great. We're going to be at 56th and 7th Avenue. Where's an organic restaurant around there where we can grab food? Because, when, we were waking up at literally 4 o'clock in the morning and the hotel, I didn't have a kitchenette in there, so I couldn't make my stash.
And the one time we didn't go to an organic restaurant, we actually both ended up getting a little bit sick that day, which was really weird. They'd use some bad oil or some, canola oil versus olive oil or something. And both of us ended up having digestive problems that day. So we were like, nope, gotta get right back in there and make sure they're using the right stuff.
Then my dress the next morning didn't fit me. Didn't zip up. I had to wear a different outfit. Just saying. True story.
But that's actually what's so interesting when you do get inflammation like that. People don't really think, but you swell so bad. Like people bloat and swell, and that's from inflammation of putting bad oils, bad foods, and chemicals into the body.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Couldn't zip it up. Had to change my outfit. But yeah. So honestly, Mary Alice, it's just like you just do what you can, and just again, like just try to do as much research and kind of planning it out. It's planning. It's just planning, honestly.
Perfect.
Right. I understand about the effects when you eat some stuff that doesn't agree with you. I understand.
Yeah, it's awful. But honestly, like that's why this book is so awesome. Is like it really is trying to give you guys solutions that I found that work for me. that Elizabeth has found, that works for her. And I'm looking forward to hearing more of your guys' thoughts. Like, let me know on social media. Like, I want to hear feedback. I want to hear the recipes you love and, what you want to know more of and stuff like that. Like, I live for this stuff. I love it. And I could talk about it forever. Like, and that's the problem. It's like when I only have a short amount of time, I'm like, I want to talk about it more. So whatever. But thank you for your call.
Thank you, and it's awesome that you share all this with us.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Bye. Okay.
Cool. I really liked that subject.
Yeah, it was awesome. Because it's, we all travel. It's something we deal with, and, it's important.
Yeah, it's very important, and that.
But you do the best you can. You once you learn these habits, it's like with this new kind of lifestyle and knowledge, and now that you have these kind of cool solutions, you just figure out how to make it work for yourself.
Well, yeah, and once you get used to, like you talked about, this is a 21-day plan, but
Right.
this is not a diet that is 21 days and then you go back to everything that you were doing. The
Right.
intention of this book is this is 21 days, as you were saying earlier, to break the habits, those bad habits, and then you can continue this diet. You can keep doing it, and then you can add more of your own recipes to this, and you can because now you know how to eat cleanly, you know how to eat right for your body, you know what
Right.
your body processes well and all that stuff. And on that note, we are going to be saying goodbye with you guys shortly. So just thank you so much for viewing and watching and supporting my best friend.
Thank you guys
It's
so much.
So awesome.
Yeah.
There's a button below the screen to order now. If you haven't ordered the book, you can get a signed copy of
Oh
the
man,
Stash
we might have
Plan.
to do this again because it was so fun.
I'm down. I'm a little I was very nervous. I'm still a little nervous.
No,
'cause
it's great.
I mean, I've been on camera before, but I've never hosted as an interviewer, so it's
Right.
a little awkward. But being that we get along well, so it's fine.
Luckily.
But
good.
on that note, I think you had some incredible questions from your fans, and I love the passion that you show them
Thanks, girl.
for this book, and the passion that you've had for this book for 4 years. I mean, trust me, I've seen it every single day with you and your drive to get this amazing book released. And when
It's
when
awesome.
she said she cried when she opened it. She cried and put it on display because funny enough, she was actually entertaining a dinner party that night.
Yeah, I totally was.
Hosting for a friend of hers,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
she was like, "Okay, everybody needs to see the book," and so
It
she's
was
very
like-
proud. It's an
No, it was
incredible
flat.
product, and I have been through the beginning, middle, and end of this process with her, and
Thanks, girl.
I'm just as proud as you guys, and I love that you guys all are so supportive of her.
Thank you.
So we're gonna say bye.
All right, thank you guys so much. Hit me up on social media. Let me know how you're feeling, how it's going, what recipes you love, how the stretches are, what you want to see more of. I want to hear your feedback because this means so much to me. So thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Bye.
Bye.